Deceiving, confusing, hard to read. Enough about how my ex describes me. Today, we're going to talk about forward passes. I will be trying to answer the question that has most middle-aged rugby fans in a complete chokehold. Didn't that pass go forward? And instead of using traditional point-proving tactics like raising my voice louder than anyone else in the room, I will be using science, helping me to prove that that pass didn't go forward. Rugby is just silly. Firstly, we have to determine what is actually deemed a forward pass by the actual laws of the game, because if we didn't, this would all be essentially completely pointless. The definition of forwards is towards the opposition's dead ball line. And then we have to look towards the laws 11.6 and 11.7. Throw forward can occur anywhere within the field of play. A player can't intentionally pass or throw the ball forward. And it's quite poetic, really. Arguably the most controversial rule in rugby is whittled down to two small lines. And that's because forward passes are just like innately confusing. They look backwards, but they've actually travelled forwards. And then they look flat, but they've actually gone backwards. It's just weird. It just shows how stupid this sport really is. But at least it's not hockey. I hate hockey. I struggle even to say the word. So it all comes down to the interpretation of the laws. Refs say that a pass has to come backwards out of the hands of the attacker. I spent hours in a field on my own trying to see if I could pass a ball backwards forwards out of my hands, which in itself is obviously extremely confusing to say, and turns out is obviously impossible.
Mate, this is impossible.
I know, I just said that. And that's why refs look at the hands of the player during those controversial and tight passes rather than the direction the ball travels itself, because most passes travel forward in some regard. I like to look at the classic pass the ball over the head example. How could a pass possibly go forward if you throw it behind the bear? That's just gone forward, hasn't it? That's just travelled forward. That ball's just gone. How? So there you go. I've thrown the ball clearly backwards, but the ball's travelled forward, which just demonstrates how disgusting the premise of a forward pass actually is.
Look, mate, I'm absolutely freezing here, right? And you have the audacity to not be subscribed to the channel. What are you doing? Who do you think? Do you know how that makes me feel? Okay, subscribe, please. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm cold.
And we can explain how the ball travels forward by relative velocity, which basically means a ball can be passed backwards but travel forward over the ground relative to the rugby player's motion. Here are some real life examples that you would see whilst watching on your television, mobile phone or dustbin if you're watching Wales. Let's just look at this tight example by Billy Vunipola. Okay, he runs back and he looks to pass the ball. He's just thrown that 5 minutes forward. Here, Rory Hutchinson throws a beautiful 20-metre pass that no one in their right mind would question, okay? But if you break it down, the ball itself actually travels 2 metres forward, and that's that relative velocity in play. And this pass by Finn Russell looks forward, but then is essentially flat, which is just adds to the confusion. No wonder people get confused whilst watching rugby. None of it makes sense. In Hutchinson's case, it looks better because the ball travels in relation to the two players. But then in Finn's case, he stops and doesn't travel with Hugh Jones, who's the catcher of the ball. Based on visual inspection alone, only one of these would sort of be worthy of a TMO review, even though the other one has travelled further forward. So players are sort of breaking the laws of physics while obeying the laws of rugby. Which is coincidentally why Einstein used to play fly half. And he was class, by the way. He used to throw that thing around, E equals MC squared, but also, dummy switch pop. You got to remember, he was class. What am I talking about? Sorry. Now let me introduce you to parallax error. Parallax error happens when an object's position or motion looks different depending on where you're observing it from. It's kind of like an optical illusion caused by viewing angle when you're not directly in line with the motion of an object. This essentially means to get an accurate view of every single pass, you would have to have a camera person placed perfectly in line at the perfect height of every single part. They would just be surrounding the whole pitch at that point. No one would be able to see anything because there would just be cameras everywhere. So let's not do that. Let's just scrap forward passes altogether. If it looks suspect, leave it alone. Personally, I think for those sort of tight, controversial passes, we're better off sort of using Jedi mind control than we are any form of cameras, and just sort of being one with the Force is one. This just shows and emphasises why TMOs and refs look at the action of the players rather than the ball itself, because it's all a lie. Okay, it's all a lie. So next time you're watching rugby and your favourite team is probably inevitably losing, just remember when that controversial pass is thrown, don't shout straight away and yell forward pass. Just have a little think. Was that pass really forward, or was the forward the part? Was the pass really? Just don't look at the pass at all. Just look at the hands. Okay, rugby's stupid. Okay, is the conclusion I think of this video. Just look at the hands, and I don't know what to say anymore. There you go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy, maybe even learn something. Even though I sort of didn't really come up with a conclusion in the end. I don't really know. I think we should just ignore forward passes, was my conclusion, I think. Okay, if you did like, please feel free to like and maybe subscribe to the channel. I've got an Instagram as well that would be great. I don't know what I'm going to post on it, but it would be great if you go and follow it maybe. And then, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye. But see you later. Bye, 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 bye.